everybody, Tekking101 here with another belated chapter review, which, in my opinion, is the best kind of chapter review. The ones where you gotta wait 5 days after the chapter's released to watch. Aren't you excited? I'm excited too. I'm actually even more excited because I got an upgrade on the show. One of my fans sent me this really professional clicker kind of thing. I was usually using just a wireless mouse for the past, like, 7 years, but thanks, Kenny! And it also comes with a laser pointer, so... yeah, I could punctuate my point with that. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, let's just get right into it. This will be One Piece, chapter 887 review titled, Somewhere, Someone is Wishing for Your Happiness. Really? Somewhere, someone is wishing for my happiness? Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebird. Okay, so the cover page is actually really funny. So you think we're gonna get some sort of, like, conclusion to the whole IDEO, Bluegilly, you know, like, oh, there's these two warring factions of Long Arm and Long Leg tribe members. You think, like, they're gonna work together, and they're gonna build their ship, and they're gonna sail off, and IDEO and Bluegilly are gonna, like, bid them farewell, and they're gonna have, like, an accomplishment. Like, you know what, we did something good here today. No! Exact opposite. Basically, this is how it goes down, the way I'm seeing this, you know. IDEO and Bluegilly, they stop in the middle of this, you know, warring factions of Long Arm and Long Leg. They try to help them for a little bit in the only way they know how, like, you know, you go and build that ship and you go and help them, and okay? But then all they do is complain. So they're sitting here, you know, IDEO's like in the middle listening to this, like, he's like, yeah, well, maybe we would build the ship better if you didn't have two elbows to work with. Yeah, well, maybe your long-ass feet are the real problem. IDEO's just in the middle, and he's just like, screw it! Screw the whole thing. And they just get on a ship, and they just sail away, and they're like, you know what? You fix each other's problems, and you sail away, or you fail and you starve to death. I don't care which. Later! And they just leave. I hope that these two factions manage to work together and they don't die. But, you know, then again, in a few dozen chapters, the Straw Hats might be sailing in the New World, and we might look over and they might land in an island, and there's just a bunch of long arm and long leg skeletons strewn out everywhere, and they're like, what happened here? You know, okay, so that's not them. Okay, so we begin the chapter immediately after last time. If you need a little recap, Beige shows up acting like the gangsta guy that he is, the supreme gangsta, shoots freaking Oven right in the face at a distance of like several hundred yards. Like their ship, the Nostra Castro, is still at sea, and Beige just pulls out a freaking gun, a pistol, and just boom, and just shoots Oven right in the face. He gets knocked back a little bit, and Oven gets back up. It doesn't seem to do him a lot of damage, and he's like, you choose to fight? I'll carry out the execution myself. And I'm like, I thought that's what you were doing up to this. You were trying to execute, like, Chiffon there for a while. You were grabbing her and crap. Like, I don't know. But anyway, Oven's pissed. That's basically the deal here. Okay, so they figure, well, even though Oven got a pot shot to the face, they're still at the advantage here. The Big Mom Pirates are, because the Nostra Castro, it's at sea, and it's completely surrounded on all sides. There's nothing it can do, except it keeps charging forward. It keeps sailing toward the port. And they're like, we're not going to let your ship dock here. Like, we're not just going to be like, all right, before we blast you into oblivion, you can lower your anchor, and we'll do the passenger manifest and all that crap. No, but the ship just keeps coming. Like, it's not stopping. Like, it's ramming speed. And they're like, is this a suicide attack? And then all of a sudden, the Nostra Castro just breaks into the freaking harbor, and then Beige comes out and says, out of the way, whippersnappers! This ship is the Nostra Castello, and it's amphibious! I apologize for saying Castro, because, you know, I think Nostra, Castro, I don't know, I'm thinking of Cuban dictators for some reason. That's on my mind today. But anyway, no, yeah, it's amphibious, which, you know, just like amphibians, just like frogs, they can exist in the water, and they can also, you know, live on land, you know, for, you know, a certain amount of time anyway, but that's neither here nor there. Point is, the ship has tank treads that can extend outwards, and your ship can, you know, go up on land. I'm also assuming that, just to make this, you know, make as much sense as possible, if the bottom of the ship is here, the tank treads maybe, like, go out and then lower a little bit, because that way the underside of your ship would just get shredded. It would have to be supported a little bit, but I guess this, in theory, can work in a fictional context. The actual funny thing is is we've seen the Nostra Castello before, and it was actually in the anime back before the time skip. You remember that scene where Beige was in the New World and this weird ship came out of nowhere in the sky and like sucked them up, which we still have no idea what the hell that was about. But we see it in the anime, and even in the anime there was a vague resemblance to it. It looks like the side of the ship can either be like cannons like extending outwards, or they can also be they can change into the tank treads, like the actual like those circular things in the middle of the tank treads could actually be cannons, as well as like the support structure for the paddles and the tank treads. So that's pretty cool anyway. It's a neat ship, and it certainly fits, you know, Beige's aesthetic with being, you know, like I'm a castle human, and his ship has, you know, castle structures and stuff like you know, things that look like rooks as the figurehead and everything like that. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. So anyway, they all just start unloading, you know, because they're the ship just crashes into the harbor, and they're not expecting that. And then the freaking fire tank pirates just get to the, you know, the sides of the ship, and they just start unloading on all the Big Mom pirates in the freaking harbor. And this is Beige's crew, all right? Beige might have the really cool flintlock, you know, whatever, but most of their crew, I mean, they have like Tommy guns. They have like automatic rifles and stuff. They're just like, ah! You know? So this is a freaking war zone here. I can't wait till that gets animated, because that's just going to be awesome to see. So Beige shouts over to Chiffon, Chiffon, pass the cake over to us. We're going to take the cake. And all the chefs are like, what are you freaking... this thing is like huge. How are we going to pass a cake over to a ship without harming it? You need to have like... okay, first off, you'd have to have the ability to fly. And does anyone here have the ability to fly? I think not. And then you'd have to have, like, an incredibly, you know, like, limb strength. Either your arms would have to be fairly strong, or I suppose your legs would have to be fairly strong, too. Okay, is there anyone here we know of that has really strong legs and can also fly? No, I don't think so. Whoa! And so, of course, Sanji jumps up, has the entire cart, the whole carriage, everything, even the seal, which, by the way, I didn't mention the seal last chapter, but for some reason the cart was being carried by a seal on a ball. You think there'd be more effectual ways of, you know, pulling a carriage than using a seal on a ball? But okay, whatever. I guess that's... horses don't exist on Cacao Island. All right. So yeah, Sanji just lifts up the entire thing, which still kind of skeeves me out a little bit, because it's just like, how is he has to be like exactly in the middle of that cart for it like to be balanced out. Like, I have no doubts Sanji is strong enough to lift up the thing, but if he's just a little bit off kilter, that thing's gonna be like, ew. So yeah, anyway, he lifts the whole thing up, and then he's like, clear the deck, Beige! And then he passes it, and it goes straight to freaking Beige, and they manage, it lands perfectly, crystal clear. Like, Beige's crew doesn't do anything to, like, grab it or anything. It's just like, Sanji, here's the deck of the Nostra Castello, and I think I've changed the name of his ship like 5 times already, whatever. And Sanji lifts up the cake, and it's just, woo! Boop, perfect. Right, and of course, Chiffon and Pudding were also on the cart as well as with all the chefs, so they landed on the deck as well. You see Pudding, of course, not as a funny scene as last time where her head was like, you know, steaming, and she was like, but there's this funny scene where she's just like, oh, Sanji-san, you know? It's amazing that woman has not passed out yet, like, for a while. Like, it's amazing she hasn't been knocked into a severe yandere coma from the intensity of the situation that's going on here. And this is a reason why Pudding cannot be with the Straw Hats, because if she's gonna like borderline pass out every time Sanji does something cool, then she would spend the... I mean, she could join the Straw Hats, but she'd be stuck in the infirmary the entire time. Like, oh yeah, she's also a member of the Straw Hats, but she's, you know, comatose 99.9% of the time, because every time Sanji goes up to her and be like, Pudding-chan, would you like some breakfast? Oh! You know, anyway. So Chiffon is reunited with Beige, and everyone's happy, and that seems good, and they're like, all right, we're gonna get going, let's get the engines, and let's get the hell out of here. So they can't just go right back, you know, so this is the harbor, this is the ocean, this is Cacao Island. They can't just go back. So what they're gonna have to do is they're gonna have to kind of like speed through town in the back streets of Cacao Island, of Chocolate Town, and then, you know, make a hard left, and then they can just pop back into the ocean, because all of Big Mom's, all of the ships that were surrounding Beige's ship, they're in like this part of the harbor, not over on this side, so they might be able to like snake their way through. So they're just gonna have to keep barreling through the town. Oven is shouting like, okay, I'm gonna stop you, and then BAM! Just gets run the fuck over, just BAM! Oh, that was great, because I'm imagining Oven, he's like, you know what, I'm tired of this crap. All right, bring it on. I'll stop you. And then just gets run over. I'm sure he was like hockeying up and everything, but ship's just too big, man. You know, I'm expecting this really cool scene where Oven like grabs it and like lifts it up, but nope, just gets run over. So everyone's talking about the plan, what we're gonna do here. Meanwhile, you have Pound, who is still alive, which is good. For now. Remember, he was, you know, beaten senseless by Oven last chapter, and he was just like, lay your hands off of Chiffon. And, but it seems like he recovered a little bit. He's missing a tooth, which that's not a big concern in the One Piece world. Just go down to the old dairy shop and pick you up some moo juice, and you'll be good on that front. But anyway, he's like, he's seeing Chiffon with Pez. And of course, Pez would be Pound's grandson. And so it's really sucky because there's all these milestones you have in someone's life. You know, like when you're a parent, a happy moment in your life is, of course, when your child is born and getting to hold your child for the first time. And from what we're going to find out later, that never happened. And then another big moment is when your child, in this case your daughter, gets married. And then, you know, you could be at the wedding and you walk, at least in Western societies anyway, it's usually the father of the bride that walks her down the aisle, kind of gives her away to the husband and trusts the husband to care for the wife. And then another one is, of course, when your grandchildren are born. And Pound, he wasn't there for any of that. Yeah, anyway, so they managed to skid through the town, and they finally crashed down in the southwestern sea. We've made it off Cacao Island, so now they're set. Now they just need to, you know, head out to sea as fast as possible, and they should be able to make it. There's a pretty funny scene with Sanji and Beijing here, where Beijing is like grabbing Sanji's like, don't think I did it for you, Blackleg. I'm keeping my reputation. Don't be talking crap about how I burst in at the last minute to save your ass. Don't be blabbing to your captain how awesome I am. I mean, I know I'm awesome, but you're... And Sanji's just kind of ignoring it. He's just kind of like loosening his tie. He's just like, is there... Yeah, whatever. Is it hot in here or is it just me? Oh, well... I know, you cue up Sanji's, like, you know, like, little jazz music from the anime, like, do-do-do-do-do, but okay. No, it turns out, like, things are actually heating up quite a bit. Like, the entire ocean is boiling. Like, fish are dying. That's how hot it's getting. So, we all know where this is going from here. It is, of course, Oven. He survived. I mean, I guess he's pretty tanky. Survived getting hit by, not even just getting shot in the face, but also getting run over by, like, oh, man, I don't even want to guess how heavy that ship was. Like, how heavy is a standard ship that has 2 tank treads attached to it? Can someone look up that statistic? Like, all right, Tekking, just be right back. I'll Google that one. Several tons, and the thing was booking. Like, I'm going to assume the thing was moving at, like, at least 50 miles an hour or some such. I mean, that thing was speeding through the streets. So, yeah, anyway, Oven just gets right back up, and he's like, the hell? And then he runs over to the ocean, right to the docks where they are, and then he just sticks his hands in the ocean, and his devil fruit, the Netsu no Mi, it actually works by the actual laws of, like, you know, heat distribution and stuff like that. It's like he grabs something metal from what we've seen with Pedro, and he's able to heat that up. It seems like almost immediately. It doesn't seem like it, because if you know, you have a metal sword, and if you heat up one end, it's going to take a little while for the heat to get all the way to the end, right? At least I would assume that's how it would work. I would assume, like, if his arm was just so freaking hot, even if it was, like, absurdly hot, wouldn't that just melt the end, like, right away? But I don't know, I'm not a freaking chemist or whatever. But, anyway, the point of the matter is, whatever he seems to touch, he can distribute his heat almost immediately. So the second, like, even if his, like, pinky finger touches a sword, the entire sword heats up. The second he sticks his hands into ocean, a wide range of ocean is instantly raised to, like, way above boiling temperature. It's not like a, you know, like a watch pot can, you know, never boil. It's like if Oven's cooking, he can literally just stick his finger and it's instant boiling temperature, right? Something along those lines. And since Oven is so skilled at using his devil fruit, obviously the range of it's going to be pretty devastating. So right away after sticking his hands in the water, he calls it his boiling seas hell, which is a callback to Impel Down for me, from all the different, you know, tortures and hells that they had in Impel Down. Upon him, like, sticking his arms in the water, like, an entire, like, even though they're well out to sea at this point, that area is already heated up to an insane degree, right? So, the tank treads begin to fail, they begin to explode just because it's so freaking hot, so, like, absurdly hot. Like, boiling doesn't even do it justice, like, way beyond that temperature at this point. Probably even maybe several thousand degrees. I don't know how the water's, like, if it's that hot to severely damage the treads, I don't know how hot it is. Like, why isn't it just straight up evaporating? But I don't know. Anyway, maybe it doesn't take that much heat to damage the treads. I don't know. I just find it weird that, you know, these are like, you know, metal treads and anything like that, and they're being damaged by like boiling temperature. You think it would have to be way hotter than that to do severe damage to the ship, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But yeah, so he breaks that out, and the ship is still going, but the paddles are beginning to overheat and explode, and it's doing, you know, a lot of damage here. I mean, they still got the wind and everything. They still got sails, but they can't be in and the cake is going to get damaged too. Sanji brings that up. Actually, Sanji's more concerned about the cake than he is with the ship, because he's like, you know, the chocolate's gonna melt and it'll mess up the whipped cream. You know, we gotta finish this guy off. We gotta lower the temperature here, or else this isn't gonna be good. And I don't think Big Mom's gonna be happy with grilled fish, which, I mean, hey, you gotta give her a shot, right? Like, okay, well, I'm just like, is Big Mom like a bottomless pit? Like, you just like when she's in the middle of her hunger pang, like, let's just keep like shoving food down her gullet, even if it's food that she doesn't have her hunger pang for, and even after she's completely like full to bursting, would she still be like, cake? You know, like, you eat one more pea and her belly just explodes, but she's like still craving it. I guess that's how that would go. But anyway, it looks like it's time for a true hero, a true man among men to end this nonsense. And of course, we have Pound, and he jumps in, and you just feel so sorry for him. He smacks Oven right upside the head with a log. And in a second here, you know, Oven, he takes his hands out of the water, which lowers the temperature. He doesn't seem damaged by it at all. It just kind of seems like a... Ow. And then he, like, slowly walks up to Pound, like, you're gonna get you've done this enough times, alright? The funny thing is, in Pound's mind's eye, he was probably running toward freaking, Oven, and he was thinking, like, I'm gonna pick up this stick. You know, do I have a stick? Well, I have Thor's hammer, that's something I have. Be like, I'm gonna pick up this large, blunt object, and I'm gonna hit Oven right in the head with it, and he's standing right next to the water. So Pound was thinking, I'm gonna smack him so hard, not only is he gonna stop using his devil fruit power and let them get away, he's gonna fall in the water, and that's gonna rob him of his ability to move, you know, because he's a devil fruit user. That's what Pound was thinking of. Didn't go over quite as well, and you have this expression on Pound's face that's like, oh, so you didn't fall in the water then? Well, you know what they say. So, yeah, Pound's gonna die. Pound's gonna straight up die, because Oven has had enough of this. They've gotten away. There's nothing that Oven can really do about it right now. They're already gone. They're already probably beyond the range of his fruit at this point. There's a little bit of damage to Beige's ship, but like I said, nothing they probably can't handle. Beige seems to have a well-stocked crew, so I'm sure there's a few like shipwrights that can maybe do some damage. And even if the treads and the paddles are done for, you still got the sails, so you should be all right. There's a scene with Pez, and Pez is, you know, he's a baby, but he's looking over at Pound, and he's like, da-da, da-da. Chiffon's like, who is that guy? Is he some sort of pervert? He keeps following me around. Chiffon has no idea who he is, and this is the reason why. We get a flashback of Big Mom when she was younger. This was 26 years ago, so that confirms right there Chiffon and Lola's ages. I don't know if it was ever confirmed before this, but it was confirmed now that Chiffon and Lola are both 26 years old. And so he's looking back to that moment when his children were born, and he couldn't even hold them. Big Mom was basically like, okay, they're born, don't need you anymore, be gone from my sight. And this was 42-year-old Big Mom, which actually does sync up rather well. This is 42-year-old Big Mom, and I believe this was a drawing of 48-year-old Big Mom that Oda drew in an SBS. And so she's a little bit younger in this chapter, in this flashback, so it seems to be getting there. It seems to be, you know, laid out rather well there. I still can't believe that, you know, Big Mom went from this to this to this, but okay, whatever, I'm just gonna go with it. And we also see Pound wearing a crown, implying that he was royalty or a king of some nation somewhere. Which makes sense. I mean, if Big Mom's gonna seek out, you know, her whole thing is, I'm gonna seek out places to have husbands and have children with those husbands that have, like, political power or genetically that are really strong. Pound himself is, like, a pretty big dude, but if he was the king of a nation, that also makes sense. Like, oh, well, you know, we get together and then we have kids, and then our nation and Whole Cake Island and your nation, Pound, will be united or something like that. But it doesn't change the fact Big Mom is, you know, pretty much of a bunt in this chapter, because she's like, you know, Pound doesn't even get to hold his kids even a single time, and Big Mom just kind of like denies him, you know, sends him off to the farthest reaches of Whole Cake Island where he'll bury himself in the dirt and never be heard from again. I don't know how that went down, but it's pretty sad. But even so, Pound is he's resigned himself. He's seen his daughter, he's seen his grandson, even though he didn't actually get to talk to them really, he got to see them, and I guess at this point, that's all Pound really wanted. So he straightens up his tie, very gentlemanly. Oven shows up behind him with a freaking blazing halberd. Don't know where he got that, but he has one, and just brings the freaking thing down, and then you just see the scene with Pound like, you know, I'm happy for you, Chiffon. And then, just a splat of blood. Now, keep in mind, this is One Piece we're talking about here. And, we haven't seen Pound's dead bodies, so I'm gonna say that the jury is out for the moment, because we do not know. Something else that's rather odd is that the blade that, you know, Oven uses to attack Pound is obviously like a big, like, halberd, like it's a really wide kind of blade.
Hey everyone, so I just want to give a little bit of a correction here, because as I'm editing this, I noticed that I repeatedly call Oven's weapon a halberd, and I could see this now in the comments. People are correcting me like, Tekking, that is not even close to what a halberd looks like, and you're right, it's not a halberd. A halberd is basically a pole-armed weapon that has an axe blade at the end. I got the pole-arm part right, but this is not obviously an axe blade. It doesn't even look, it's more similar to like a regular, like a sword. This weapon could be considered a glaive, or considering that Oda is Japanese, I'm going to go with it being called a naginata or a yari, Japanese spear, although it's closer to a naginata than a spear, because the spear is like just a straight blade, and this is obviously a curved blade, so I'm going to go with naginata. Also, some of you might mention that it's a baisento, which is the same weapon that Whitebeard used, which a baisento is basically just like a really large naginata, like a huge kind of thing, and keep in mind, Whitebeard was a big dude. Whitebeard was like 20 feet tall, so obviously he needed like a giant weapon to match his size. So, yeah, you can either call it a naginata or a glaive or a baisento, whatever, but it's certainly not a halberd, so I just wanted to correct that.
The blade that we see after the attack, we don't really get to see the attack. We just get to see Beijei's ship sailing away, and then we hear it in the background, like the sound effect of the blade coming down, like whoop. So we can imply that means that, you know, Pound is supposed to be dead, but then we get to see a close-up of the blade with blood on it. And I don't know about you, but this doesn't look like the same blade. It looks a little bit thinner. It looks more like a regular sword than the halberd thing that Oven had. So I don't know. And also, it's not on fire. You know, the whole thing was Oven. It was a blazing halberd that cut. You know, so I don't understand. Like he cut him down and then he turned off the flames, but there's still blood on it. When the blood of, you know, I don't think it's the same blade is basically what I'm trying to get across here. Now, who could have shown up to save Pound at the last minute? Germa? That's all I can think of at the moment, because the Straw Hats are preoccupied. Luffy doesn't go around having swords, so either Zoro or Law appeared from a wormhole from Wano, or it might be one of the Germa, possibly. I don't know, but it's scheming me out. The way that we've seen this go down, always with, you know, like, off-screen, like, oh, you're definitely dead. Now, of course, we've also seen this with Pedro, and I think Pedro is dead, but I don't think Pound is dead. I don't feel it going down. I don't feel it. But for right now, at this moment anyway, let's rest in peace, Pound. If this is truly your coup de grace, your swan song, then, yeah, then good job, buddy. Good job. You tried. You didn't really succeed, but you kind of tried. You at least distracted Oven for a few seconds to get him to, you know, his overflowing rage for you outstripped the Beijei crew for a little while. So that, I guess that's it. And you managed to hit him in the face with a piece of lumber. So that was kind of a cool thing too. All right, so last scenes of the chapter. We cut over to the Straw Hat Pirates aboard the Thousand Sunny. We got Jinbei, we got Nami, we got Brook, we got Choppa, we got Carrot. And it seems that the Big Mom Pirates, Big Mom has finally stopped her rampage on other islands, and she's caught back up, and Perospero is there, and the entire fleet is there, and it is right on the Thousand Sunny's ass, ladies and gentlemen. It is closing in, and Big Mom is like, there you are, give me the cake. So, if we stop, we're done for. We gotta keep this train moving. Does the Thousand Sunny have, like, a jet propulsion engine? Can we install that? Like, not coup de burst. I mean just, like two jets come out of the side, and like two airline jets, and just You know, can we get Frankie to install that function? That seems like something that could be used as a very effectual thing. Or just modify the Kude burst just to give you a little bit of extra movement, because you had the paddles before the time skip, but then Frankie removed those, and there was like a new engine that was put underneath the thing. I'm just saying, like, some much needed extra speed is needed right about at this moment, I would say. But anyway, we come back over to Sanji aboard the Nostra Castello, and we see him there, and he's like, we've got to start the decorations immediately, and we don't have much time, basically. And then you have Pudding in the background. It's kind of a cute scene with Pudding. She's like, we'll do this. So the decorations of the cake begin. The Straw Hats are once again on the run from Big Mom, and we don't get caught up with Luffy at all in this chapter. So we don't know what's going on with Luffy or Katakuri or anything like that. This was a Pound chapter. This was a chapter about the Pound, and I am proud of to say that. But yeah, next chapter, I have some suspicions that we're gonna be a little bit more, not really, I don't want to say filler because it's manga, but I think next chapter is going to be focused on, you know, a few pages with the cake decorating, a few pages with the Straw Hats, like, we need to escape, we need to run away, and I don't feel like we're going to, maybe the end of the next chapter is going to set up something big, but I just don't feel like next chapter we're going to get anything really huge, unless Oda decides to go back and address the Pound thing, unless he goes back and address, oh, by the way, Pound didn't actually die, it was the Germa that showed up at the last minute, or at least maybe one of the Germa, because all of them showing up on Cacao, the action's not on Cacao anymore, it's moving out to sea, so maybe if it's, hey, you know what, Yonji, this is a time for Yonji to show up, nobody cares about Yonji. Yonji shows up, saves Pound, and then they just kind of chill out on Cacao Island while all the other cooler Germas do stuff out to sea. Okay, are you fine with that? Are you fine with that? I'm fine with that. Alright. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks to Kenny for the little clicker thing. It really worked out a lot. So, yeah. Sorry for the delay. And this week, I'm going to try to get out the Luffy X Nami fanfiction, the thing that I wanted to do for the 200K special. Yeah, and if a few days happen where I'm not uploading stuff, I really feel weird. I feel skeeved out when I don't upload a video for like 2 days. I feel really weird when that happens. But this week, this Christmas season, I don't know if you felt it either. I don't know where you live in the world. I don't know how bad it usually is. Living in the United States, consumerism is king. But this Christmas, this is my 6th Christmas working in retail. 6th one. So I'm a veteran. And this is worse than anything I've ever seen. Like, this is way worse. So, yeah, it's been extremely stressful. But I'll get out stuff. Don't worry. I'll get it. But, yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Signing out. Later. Oh, my Pound.